Lilith, also spelled Lilit, Lilitu, or Lilies, is a feminine figure in Mesopotamian and Jewish mythology, theorized to be the first wife of Adam and a primordial she-demon. Lilith is cited as having been banished from the Garden of Eden for not complying with and obeying Adam. The original Hebrew word from which the name Lilith is taken is in the biblical Hebrew, in the book of Isaiah, though Lilith herself is not mentioned in any biblical text. In late antiquity in Mandean and Jewish sources from 500 AD onward, Lilith appears in historiolas, incantations incorporating a short mythic story, in various concepts and localities, that give partial descriptions of her. She is mentioned in the Babylonian Talmud, Eruvin 100b, Niddah 24b, Shabbat 151b, Bava Butra 73a, in the conflict of Adam and Eve with Satan as Adam's first wife, and in the Zohar Leviticus 19a as a hot fiery female who first cohabited with man. Many rabbinic authorities, including Maimonides and Munakim Myri, reject the existence of Lilith. The name Lilith stems from Lilu, Lilitu, and Adat Lili. The Akkadian word Lilu is related to the Hebrew word Lilit appearing in Isaiah 34 verse 14, which is thought to be a night bird by some modern scholars such as Judith M. Blair. In Mesopotamian religion, found in the cuneiform texts of Sumer, Assyria, and Babylonia, Lilitu is a spirit or demon. Many have also connected her to the Mesopotamian demon Lamashtu, who shares similar traits and a similar position in mythology to Lilith. Lilith continues to serve as source material in today's popular culture, Western culture, literature, occultism, fantasy, and horror. In some Jewish folklore, such as the alphabet of Sirach, c. 700 to 1000 AD, Lilith appears as Adam's first wife, who was created at the same time and from the same clay as Adam. The legend of Lilith developed extensively during the Middle Ages, in the tradition of Agadah, the Zohar, and Jewish mysticism. For example, in the 13th century writings of Isaac ben Jacob HaKohen, Lilith left Adam after she refused to become subservient to him and then would not return to the Garden of Eden after she had coupled with the archangel Samuel. Interpretations of Lilith found in later Jewish materials are plentiful, but little information has survived relating to the Sumerian, Assyrian, and Babylonian views of this class of demons. Recent scholarship has disputed the relevance of two sources previously used to connect the Jewish Lilith to an Akkadian Liltu, the Gilgamesh Appendix and the Arslan Tash amulets. In contrast, some scholars, such as Lowell K. Handy, hold the view that though Lilith derives from Mesopotamian demonology, evidence of the Hebrew Lilith being present in the sources frequently cited, the Sumerian Gilgamesh fragment and the Sumerian incantation from Arslan Tash being too, is scant, if present at all. In Hebrew language texts, the term Lilith or Lilit, translated as night creatures, night monster, night hag, or screech owl, first occurs in a list of animals in Isaiah. The Isaiah 34 verse 14 Lilith reference does not appear in most common Bible translations such as KJV and NIV. Commentators and interpreters often envision the figure of Lilith as a dangerous demon of the night, who is sexually wanton, and who steals babies in the darkness. Currently there is no scholarly consensus, with some adhering to the animalistic interpretation, whereas others claim 34:14 is referencing a literal demon or a category of demons falling under the specification of Lilith. Historically, certain prominent Jewish rabbis in Talmudic texts feared the likes of Liliths, some to such an extent that they recommended men not sleep in a home alone, as any who do would be seized by Lilith. Jewish incantation bowls and amulets from Mesopotamia from the 1st to the 8th centuries identify Lilith as a female demon and provide the first visual depictions of her. The said amulets were often symbolic divorce papers, warding off a given Lilith that was thought to be haunting one's house or family. In the Akkadian language of Assyria and Babylonia, the terms Lili and Ltu mean spirits. Some uses of Ltu are listed in the Assyrian Dictionary of the Oriental Institute of the University of Chicago, CAD, 1956, L.190, in Wolfram von Soden's Akkadisches Handwörterbuch, AHW, page 553, and Real Lexicon der Assyriologie. The Sumerian female demons Lili have no etymological relation to Akkadian Lilu, evening. Archibald Sayce, 1882, considered that the Hebrew and the earlier Akkadian names are derived from Proto-Semitic. Charles Fossey, 1902, has this literally translating to female night being, demon, although cuneiform inscriptions from Mesopotamia exist where LLT and LTU refers to disease-bearing wind spirits. Mesopotamian mythology. The spirit in the tree in the Gilgamesh cycle. Samuel Noah Kramer, 1932, published 1938, 27, translated Kisikil-Lulaku as Lilith in Tablet 12 of the Epic of Gilgamesh dated c. 600 BC. Tablet 12 is not part of the Epic of Gilgamesh, but is a later Assyrian-Akkadian translation of the latter part of the Sumerian Epic of Gilgamesh. The Kisikil-Lulaku is associated with a serpent and a zoo bird. In Gilgamesh, Enkidu, and the Netherworld, Hulupu tree grows in Inanna's garden in Uruk, whose wood she plans to use to build a new throne. After 10 years of growth, she comes to harvest it and finds a serpent living at its base, a zoo bird raising young in its crown, and that a Kisikil-Lulaku made a house in its trunk. Gilgamesh is said to have killed the snake, and then the zoo bird flew away to the mountains with its young, while the Kisikil-Lulaku fearfully destroys its house and runs for the forest. Identification of the Kisikil-Lulaku as Lilith is stated in the Dictionary of Deities and Demons in the Bible, 1999, according to a new source, which, from late antiquity, Lilith appears in a mundane magic story where she is considered to represent the branches of a tree with other demonic figures that form other parts of the tree, though this may also include multiple Liliths. Suggested translations for the Tablet 12 spirit in the tree include Kisikil as sacred place, Lil as spirit, and Lulaku as water spirit, but also simply owl, given that the Lil is building a home in the trunk of the tree. A connection between the Gilgamesh Kisikil-Lulaku and the Jewish Lilith was rejected on textual grounds by Sergio Riboccini, 1978.35. The idol known as the Burney Relief, Babylon, 1800 to 1750 BC. Kramer's translation of the Gilgamesh fragment was used by Henri Frankfort, 1937-36, and Emil Kraling, 1937, to support identification of a woman with wings and bird feet in the disputed Burney relief as related to Lilith. Frankfort and Kraling identified the figure in the relief with Lilith. Today, the identification of the Burney relief with Lilith is questioned. Modern research has identified the figure as one of the main goddesses of the Mesopotamian pantheons, most probably Ereshkigal. But the figure is more generally identified as the goddess of love and war. Thorkild Jakobsen identified the figure as Inanna in an analysis based on the existence of symbols and attributes commonly recognized to the goddess and on textual evidence. In the Arslan Tash amulets. Main article, Arslan Tash amulets. The Arslan Tash amulets are limestone plaques discovered in 1933 at Arslan Tash, the authenticity of which is disputed. William F. Albright, Theodore H. Gaster, and others, accepted the amulets as a pre-Jewish source, which shows that the name Lilith already existed in the 7th century BC, but Torksiner, 1947, identified the amulets as a later Jewish source. Lamashtu. Many have alternatively drawn connections between Lilith and the Mesopotamian demon Lamashtu, due to their similar position and traits in both mythologies. In the Hebrew Bible, the word Lilith, or Lilith, only appears once in the Hebrew Bible, in a prophecy regarding the fate of Edom. Most other nouns in the list appear more than once and thus are better documented, with the exception of another hapax legomenon, the word